Hey everybody, it's Irene with BrainStormAcres, and I'm out in the greenhouse again. Now, today I have an important project. I'm going to see if I can adjust the water to these buckets here by using different emitters. So when you buy emitters for a drip irrigation system, they come in all different sizes. And this one, for instance, it says on it, Dig USA, but then it also says how many liters per hour it gives. And this one is 4 liters per hour, which is about a gallon, okay? This little guy is 2 liters per hour, which is about a half a gallon. So I can control the amount of water going to different buckets simply by changing the emitter that's on the end of the 1/4-inch tubing. So I'm going to take a look at them and I'm going to say, okay, this one is a little drier than I'd rather have it. Okay, this one is a little wetter than I'd rather have it. This one is a bit wetter. This one is a bit drier. Okay, so when I have ones that are a bit drier, or wetter rather, I can look and see what I've got in the other ones. And what I've got over on these green ones is, those are supposed to be 2 gallons per hour. So if I switch these green ones to something that's going to be 1 gallon per hour, it should solve some of the problem. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here, is I'm going to switch out the ones that are getting too much water, and then I can always, once I've got that sort of evened out a little bit, I can control it even further by increasing or decreasing the amount of water. But first I need to get the ones that are on an individual system to be at least sort of vaguely equal. So this is not quite enough, this is not quite enough, this is not quite enough, this is too much. This one is also too much. So that needs to go to a smaller emitter. I see a tomato in here that's loose too. Ah, that one is spoiled. We'll get rid of him. I know some things have fallen down. That happens sometimes. So anything that's fallen down and rotted, we need to get out of here. So this emitter I had switched to already. That's 2 gallons. So we're going to switch this to a gallon. Now I expect this to take a couple of tries, because it's not going to be instant. It'll take a couple of days to figure out exactly what's going on with the amount of water that the plants are getting. But this plant here was just practically drowning. So I actually took the emitter off of it in order to keep it from drowning in the water here. Does not want to come out. I have to, I can cut it, but I'd rather not. It is starting to come. It's all wrapped up in the tomato plant here, which does not help. I'm afraid to pull too hard. I don't want to mess up the tomato plant. Jeez Louise. All right, the solution to that, just cut it off. And I am going to put a much lower emitter on this. I'm going to put a half a gallon one on this one, because for whatever reason it is just totally drowning this one. So we'll try it, see what happens. If it's too dry, I can always up it easily enough. Some of this stuff has been growing so quickly that I've been having trouble with it falling over. So these Tachi paste tomatoes here are just, the plants are heavy. So they broke one of the little bamboo poles the other day here. So I had to fix that on an emergency basis by cramming in a new pole. And I need to add even more. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here, is just add a little bit more support for it. They're a determinate tomato, but it doesn't mean that they can't get really heavy. In fact, the determinants tend to get very heavy. Okay, so this is semi under control now. This has got the standard stuff on it, and it is okay, I guess. Let's see. I think what I'm going to have to do is do this in stages. So these are not soaked today. It's afternoon. So I'm going to leave this to be kind of the way it is now. I switched out a couple of them that were the worst. I'm trying not to step on this here. I need to see, there should be, I need to choose an invincible. The invincibles are starting to come off with some enthusiasm, shall we say. I'm trying to see which one is softest. In past years, we discovered that some of these paste tomatoes don't really go soft the way some of the other things do. I'm going to choose a tomato, and we're going to take this in the house because I need to know when these are going to be ripe. And the way to do that is to check the flavor on them. I have a bunch of cucumbers on here. And probably need to trim off a few of the little ones that didn't make. That's not super critical. But as you can see, we've got a couple of nice new ones here. So that's doing well. I'm going to put this with my stuff to go in the house. And I'm going to move on to the next section here and see if anything is really out of whack here. Now, this one was so drowned that I had to take the emitter out of it. This one should be down in here. Let's see if this will come out any better than its brethren over there did. The answer is no. So these are just stubborn, so they have to be cut off. And I'm going to greatly reduce the amount of, let's see, those are 2 gallons. I'm going to take it down to 1 gallon. And I can cut these out of the plastic tubing once I'm in the house. You have to be careful you don't stab yourself, but it's not a hard job. It's just sort of an annoying, tedious little job. So I will rescue those so they're totally usable again. This guy was getting drowned, so he's going to a much lower level emitter because he doesn't need that much water. This guy's just plain wilted. So I'm kind of wondering if something didn't run out here today. I'm getting that feeling, shall we say. Some of these that are back here never seem to get enough water. I'm thinking I need to increase the amount of water they're getting. 2 gallons, 2 gallons, 2 gallons. So I think what we'll do is we'll up the amount of time that this is taking here. And then we'll check the emitters. This was getting too much water also. So I'm going to change the emitter on that to 1 gallon. Oops, where did my thing go? It's sprained. There it is. It's a little less scientific than I would prefer. I'm not 100% convinced this is the only problem we have here. But I have to try this because this is the easy way to do it. I have adjusted the amount of water the plants got in the past by simply changing emitters. There's just something that tells me that this might not be the whole problem this year. There is a little bit of concern that it might not be the correct water pressure here, which may be affecting the way it's behaving. We've been collecting quite a few. These are the Red Robin tomatoes. Very, very tasty. Very pleased with them. They're very prolific. And they have what I call, although they're cherry tomato size, they're actually big tomato flavor. So they don't taste like those little weird cherry tomato things that we've never been fond of, the cherry tomatoes that taste like cherry tomatoes. We always like the ones that have big tomato flavor. We have not gotten any fruit off of the yellow canary yet. We have a couple that are starting to go yellow. So we're very curious as to what the flavor on those is going to be. Some of the nasturtiums are starting to bloom. They're also starting to take over the world. But there's a nasturtium blooming down here. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's a gorgeous orange color. Those are quite tasty, actually, in salads. Our halcinators are going crazy, and they're starting to really ripen now. Yeah, these two are Granadero. These two pots here are Granadero. And the Granadero are just starting to come on. They are also a paste tomato. Extremely prolific, indeterminate. I think the original ones we got came from Johnny's. I am watching the halcinators because we had some water fluctuations. We have had a few show up with blossom end rot, but not very many at all. Considering, I mean, it was our fault, it wasn't their fault. So they've done pretty well, considering everything.